The X2V2 from Pulsar, is it worth your money? Let's go find out right now. Before we start, I should say that neither Logitech nor Pulsar has paid me or sent me any of these mice, so the opinions in this video are completely my own. As you can see, we've got 4 mice lined up here, the Superlight, and 3 new Pulsar mice, the X2H, the X2V2, and the X2V2 in black. So right off the bat, let's talk about the colors. This is something I haven't really heard about much in other videos, but if you're here trying to figure out which color to get, my recommendation would be to go with the white. The reason for that is because the black one is an actual fingerprint magnet. I'll try and show you here. Hopefully that comes out in the video. Whereas the white version seems to be a lot better at hiding those fingerprints. I'll try to show you here. Hopefully that comes out in the video as well. For me, this is enough to make it an easy choice. Now let's get into the comparison. In the top right of your screen, I'll link a more in-depth video of the X2H, and as both of these mice are identical internally, there'll be a bit of overlap in this video, but for the most part today, I'll be comparing the two as well as checking out the differences to the well-known Superlight and ranking the 3 in different categories to see who comes out on top in the end. Let's also take the opportunity to cover a few things that was left out of the other video, such as weight. So speaking of weight, the Superlight is claimed to be 63 grams. I should point out that I obviously have aftermarket grips on here, but I also have the puck out of the bottom, so that probably just about cancels out. 64, 63, 64, so right around 63, 64. The X2H is supposed to be 52 grams, and it is indeed. The X2V2 is supposed to be 51 grams. 52, 53, 51. So 51, 52. So the 1 gram of weight difference between the two Pulsar mice is obviously not something that you're going to feel, but the 10 plus gram difference between the Superlight and the Pulsars is absolutely noticeable. The difference in both size and weight makes the Pulsar mice a lot more nimble and something that I've found to be very preferable. 3 points for the X2V2 as it is technically the lightest, 2 points for the X2H, and a single point for the Superlight. As far as grip styles, for me the Superlight is well suited for both palm grip, fingertip grip, and claw grip, but it's not really exceptional at either. The X2H is extremely comfortable for palm grip with that tall hump in the back that tucks all the way in the back of your palm. It also does reasonably well for claw grip, but after putting a good amount of hours on the mouse, I can say I'm a big fan of how it handles with a fingertip grip, because I don't feel like, because of that hump, there's not a lot of room for lateral movement like with my fingers like this, before the hump actually hits my palm. The X2V2 is by far the best of the bunch when it comes to fingertip grip, and it also works really well with both of the other grip styles. Let's give out some points. For palm grip, it's going to be best to worst, X2H, Superlight, and X2V2. For claw grip, it's going to be X2V2, X2H, Superlight, and for fingertip grip, the order is actually going to be the same. Now let's quickly go over company reputation and quality control. As for Logitech, they're an industry leader and a company with a very high standard when it comes to quality control, and although there have been some issues with double clicking on the Superlight in the past, it seems to have been very few isolated cases, and you can always expect really good customer service from Logitech. Pulsar is a lesser known but certainly not a small brand. They have had some issues with quality control in the past, particularly on the predecessor to these mice, the X2. Some reports of issues on these new mice have started to come out, but it's definitely something that seems like they've improved significantly from the previous version, and I've not had any issues with either of these 3 copies that I have here. When it comes to sensors and polling rates, the Pulsars both come with the new 3395 sensor, and they're both rated at 26,000 dpi, while the Logitech comes with the Hero sensor V1, which is rated at 25,600 dpi. Of course, you also have the option of getting the Superlight 2 for an extra $50. That one comes with the Hero 2 sensor, which is rated at 32,000 dpi. The standard polling rate of both of the Pulsar mice is 1,000 Hz, and for $20 you can buy a dongle that lets you upgrade to 4,000 Hz. While the Superlight V1 has a standard polling rate of 1,000 Hz, the V2 a standard polling rate of 2,000 Hz, and neither of them have options to upgrade. As far as sensors, I think all of them are more than capable, and I don't really think I can justify anything but a tie in this category. But if you had to pick favorites, I suppose the standard 2K rate of the Superlight V2 or the optional 4K rate of the Pulsars would be the winner depending on your preference. 2 points for all mice. For both clicking and scrolling, I think the Pulsar mice are a little bit more tactile and crisp, and although they require a little bit more force to actuate, I don't really consider that to be a negative. 2 points for either of the Pulsars and 1 for the Superlight. Same thing goes for the scroll wheel, where the Superlight again just feels a little bit more muddy. Both Pulsars have the same stock skates, and I find these factory skates from Pulsar to be noticeably better than the ones on the Logitech. On the Logitech, I would absolutely recommend swapping them out, while on the Pulsars, I think you could definitely get away with using the stock skates, although personally, I'd probably still get an aftermarket pair. 2 points for Pulsar, 1 point for Logitech. Next up is coding, which I think is very important to me to make me feel like I have a good grip on the mouse without having to pay for aftermarket grips that also add a little bit of additional weight. I think the coating on the Superlight is decent, but not great. That's why I have these aftermarket grips on there. The coating on the Pulsars, on the other hand, I think it's phenomenal, and I really think this helps me get a comfortable grip on the mouse and make sure that even once my hand starts warming up and I start sweating a little bit in the palm of my hands, I still feel like I have a phenomenal grip on these mice. Again, 2 points for the Pulsar and 1 point for the Superlight. When it comes to price, the Pulsar mice both come in at $100, while the Superlight has been on sale for a while now for $110. And if I had to guess, I'd say it's probably likely to stay there just to differentiate it from the Superlight V2, which comes in at $160. Once again, 2 points for Pulsar and 1 point for Logitech. The final category is going to be build quality, or I suppose build quality of the shell specifically, and I really can't complain about either here. Even when pressing the sides very hard, I don't feel any significant flex, so it's going to be 2 points for all mice. So the total score is going to be 22 points for the X2V2, 21 points for the X2H, and 13 points for the Logitech Superlight. Would I recommend getting either of these mice? Yes. If you're considering buying either the X2V2 or the X2H, I'd say go for it. If you're a palm gripper, I'd probably go for the X2H. Otherwise, I'd suggest you choose the X2V2. Thanks for sticking with me, and don't forget that I'm giving away 3 CS2 skins to 3 random subscribers as soon as we hit 1,000 subs, so subscribe, like the video, and comment below which skin you would like to win. Till next time, peace.